Bama takes down St. Mary's. They advance to the second weekend. We got the fastest team in the tournament against the slowest team in the tournament. I've already talked a lot about that in the preview. The faster team wins. We said if Bama can get to 75, they'll win. They scored 80. St. Mary's just couldn't keep up. My name's Guy Franklin. I'm with Connor Hope. Connor, what did you see out of Bama that you liked?
Yeah, I mean they just took the aggression to St. Mary's. I don't know if it was necessarily Bama played well. I don't know if it was necessarily more Bama or more St. Mary's that the result was what it was. St. Mary's took 14 more shots from the floor. They took one more free throw. They won the turnover battle by five. They had what? They only got out rebounded by five. Like it was one of those games where like everything about it points to, and this was they got 15 offensive rebounds, right? Everything points to like this should be a tight game. St. Mary's went 8 of 17 on layups. They shot 3 of 14 from three. They shot 35% from the floor. The only player on St. Mary's that had a shooting percentage over 40% was Mitchell Saxon. The only other player who had a shooting percentage over 33% was Mikey Lewis. Game, set, match.
Yeah, that's obviously not great. It also isn't great when in the first half you have Jordan Ross miss some time because uh he has the I guess it was ankle, might have something lower leg base.
He went up and landed. I forget who's. I think it was Grant Nelson's foot. He landed on his foot on a shot, um, and twisted his ankle. Jordan Ross going out was not the reason why Alabama got out to that lead. They already, I believe, had a pretty big lead when he went down with the ankle injury. Um, this is a story of you have WCC Player of the Year, Augustus Marshalunas, shooting 3 of 11, 1 of 3 from deep, 4 assists to 2 turnovers. You have WCC Newcomer of the Year, Paulus Morauskas, shooting 2 of 7, 1 of 4 from deep, only getting 1 rebound from the 4 spot. Uh, Luke Barrett didn't shoot well. You're not asking him to shoot well. Like Luke Barrett, Mitchell Saxon, Harry Wessels showed up. Wessels and Luke Barrett struggled to score, but they got 8 and 7 rebounds apiece, 4 and 3 offensive boards apiece. Like they showed up. They didn't have any turnovers between the two of them. Wessels had 3 blocks. Luke Barrett had 2 steals. Um, but when your second and third best players on the floor, uh, or second and third, like the players that are doing what they need to do outside of Mitchell Saxon are your fifth starter, and your backup center, it's going to be really tough to beat a team that can get out in transition, put pressure on the guards as much as Alabama does.
Yeah, and it also felt like anytime Bama got the ball anywhere near the hoop, someone was there to oop it right in. Uh, I mean, even you get that in a cold game from Mark Sears only going 5 for 15 from the field, 0 for 4 from three. The guy who I really want to talk about with this Bama team, who I love what he brought today, and I mean it's nothing new, but it was Aiden Holloway. Coming in off the bench, he was 4 for 6 from the field, 1 for 1 from three, put up 12. And he wasn't exactly filling up the stat sheets elsewhere. I mean, he had 3 assists, but just it felt like he was sort of a spark plug, able to score when you needed him to. I mean, normally I am always drawn more to LeBaron Philon just because he's so much fun and he's awesome and I love him. But I want to give in Holloway's flowers. I mean, he played really well. I think you've got to feel good going into the next round, into the second weekend for this is the third year in a row, second year in a row. Um, who did they lose to when they were the number one overall seed 2 years ago? You're on mute.
I am on mute. They lost. Why can't I remember who they lost to 2 years ago?
I'm
I
gonna
don't
pull
think it
this up.
matters, but this is great podcasting here.
Yeah, you got
They
BYU next.
lost. They lost to San Diego State. That's right.
Right.
I
Uh,
couldn't remember which one it was, but yeah, it was San Diego State.
that was a weird year. Anyway, sorry, we're doing very poorly right now. So you go from playing a team like St. Mary's, who is very defensive oriented, very slow, to playing BYU. Can you think of a team that is more opposite to St. Mary's than BYU, Connor?
Um, Alabama.
Yeah.
Um, there. But no, and I agree with you, right? The fact of the matter is that St. Mary's made three threes on 14 attempts, but they made three threes. It seemed like the initial run by Alabama was fueled by three players: Chris Youngblood, Aiden Holloway, Muhammad Diabate, who in the game went 6 of 6 from three.
Gee.
So, and it seemed like, especially in that first, like Youngblood and Diabate made some timely plays in that first half that really almost put the game away before halftime. Um, I know St. Mary's kind of made a little bit of a mini run, cut it to 7 or 8. But they couldn't gather rebounds, right? And we talk about the rebounding differential. The rebounding differential between the two teams um was huge. Um, but a lot of St. Mary's rebounds also came on just balls that got batted out of bounds by Alabama.
Mhm.
Um, so we say 15 boards, they only got 10 that really gave them a chance to take advantage of it because five of them were then inbounds passes.
That's
So
not as fun.
no, no. So yeah, I just think this is the problem with St. Mary's is that they are built to beat one team. And we heard I like to bring it back to a couple of years ago on Sleepers. There was a great rant by Greg about how Purdue ruined Big Ten basketball because every team in the Big Ten was building rosters to beat Purdue and their 7 foot centers, started with Isaac Haas, but then it kind of moved from there, and not building rosters to win in March, right? And I think this is a little bit of that, not to the same degree because I don't think St. Mary's doesn't have the resources to really do a ton else, but St. Mary's year after year is one of the best, if not the best, pick and roll defenses in the country. Um, when they beat Indiana a few years ago, Indiana was a pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll you to death offense. They ran into the best pick and roll defense in the country, and they lost by like 24. Um, this St. Mary's team is built to beat Gonzaga. Gonzaga loves the high pick and roll. They love to run their point guard off of screens, get their
To
big
be
man
fair,
down
if I
low.
had Graham Ike on my team, I would be running a pick and roll every single game.
But it's not just Graham Ike. Like this is what Gonzaga. It was Drew Timmy ran it. They did it with Brandon Clark. Um, you run a pick and roll and then you can either get it down to the low post or you get it to them running at the rim. Um, and St. Mary's is built to beat that, right? It's why St. Mary's they don't have a winning record against Gonzaga, but they have a pretty dang good record against Gonzaga compared to like everyone in the country not named UConn and Purdue, right? Like they're built to beat Gonzaga or at least compete with Gonzaga because of that. Um, when you can throw shooters out there against them, when you don't rely on the pick and roll, when you have multiple guards that can make plays, even when Gonzaga has multiple guards that can make plays for them and make plays for others, they are much better against St. Mary's than they are when it's one point guard. And I think that's the issue, especially in this game, is that LeBaron Philon had 5 assists. Mark Sears, you mentioned, didn't shoot the ball well. He had 3 assists to just 1 turnover. Ian Holloway had 3 assists. They were just Alabama was making plays, and then when they got St. Mary's into transition off of rebounds, or when they allowed their players to make, Chris Youngblood to make one-on-one plays in isolation, you really saw the difference in athleticism and size between St. Mary's and Alabama. And the past 2 years, Gonzaga hasn't had that, which is why St. Mary's has looked so good against Gonzaga. Uh, but in this game, I mean, it was just a mismatch. Um, St. Mary's in the past 10 years has had a really good regular season resume. In the month of March, they're 25 and 19. They have not gotten out of the second weekend or out of the first weekend in the NCAA tournament. They've made 2 quarterfinals in the NIT, never made the semifinals of the NIT. They when they run into teams that can take advantage of the fact that they are built to play one style of offense really well, and take advantage of the fact that the individual players are not quite as good as the whole, which is what Alabama was able to do, which is what Vanderbilt was able to do in the first half against St. Mary's. Uh, St. Mary's falls and they fall hard. This Alabama team is really good. They deserve to win this. I felt like given what we saw from St. Mary's today, 14-point win is kind of slim. You need more from Mark Sears. You need more from LeBaron Philon from a scoring front, from a scoring efficiency front. Those two were 7 of 23 in this game.
I agree with what with needing a more efficient scoring a scoring front, but the thing is when I'm looking at this Alabama BYU matchup, I mean you expect Mark Sears to be better. He's an All-American for a reason. You expect LeBaron Philon to be better. He's going to be a first round draft pick, right? Even if that doesn't happen, are you not just a better version of BYU? I mean, like Big Cliff is just like a better Kebakeda. I mean, I don't want to say better because like there are times when having Kebakeda is better. Oh my God, Colorado State. I'm sorry, I have that up on the other screen. They just hit a three to go ahead against Maryland with 10 seconds left in the game. Uh, but BYU to me is just a worse version of Alabama. And if you're Alabama, I feel really confident about about that game. Uh, I mean, obviously,
BYU doesn't play nearly as fast as Alabama does.
just in the sense of having sort of the 3 point heavy attack uh, with the big like gravitational big men down below like a Kebakeda uh, compared to a Cliff and Grant Nelson kind of style. I just feel like Bama is that but better. Obviously, this isn't a preview, this is a recap. Um, and we Sleepers Media on this channel, we will have previews and recaps of every single March game. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. But if I'm Bama, I'm feeling really confident about that game.
Oh, I am too. I am too. I'm just saying I don't necessarily think I would look at BYU and think Alabama. Um, yeah, in terms of really high octane offenses, sure. In terms of the way they do it, no. BYU is going to try and slow Alabama way down
I don't think
and
that they're
make them
going to
play
try
in the
and
half
slow
court.
down Bama as much as you think. Anyway, that we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's in the preview. We will have that up on the channel, so make sure you subscribe to get the BYU Alabama preview and every single other March Madness game preview and recap. From Connor Hope, from Guy Franklin, thank you for watching this one.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.